Hey, I'm Lance from Decimator,
I'm Riley from Decimator.
and you're watching Headbangers Australia, and this is Painted in Chaos! So yeah, the logo idea of who we now call Decimus, so the sort of legionnaire centurion head, came about from the band name. So the band name really came first. Decimation is a punishment that was used in the Roman army. So if you deserted, 1 in 10 of the people in your legion would be put to death. And so, you know, that then came in. Okay, there's the Roman connection, and you know, we went through various different font styles for the band name. But I was just doodling away one day and came up, and I think I sent you through some examples of the initial line drawing, like pen and ink version of Decimus. And it kind of grew from there, I guess. There wasn't an initial idea to when we get a band together, there's going to be this concept. There must be a logo, and then that must be a thing that follows through. It just kind of came out of what the band name was. It could have been anything else. It just happened that it was Decimator, and therefore it was like a Roman centurion. The Decimus head also, I had a friend from high school actually back in England, and he was doing game design and 3D modeling, and I got in touch with him. So he actually created the MP4 that people will be able to see, modeled the Decimus head from scratch pretty much, which was very cool. And all of this is happening, and we'd finally got enough tracks together and got into the studio and recorded the album. And you know, we were trying to do things on a shoestring at that point. So much as AI art is really controversial, and certainly I think if you're getting established, it really pays dividends to get somebody involved and do that. But at that stage, we just did an independent release. It was just like, okay, these are the songs we've got. Let's get them out there with some imagery that fits. So the AI album cover, which was, I think it's still on Spotify and, you know, some of the streaming sites, was the result of lots and lots of prompts to get this idea of the centurion marching through. Keep it appropriately metal, you know, his soldiers are all undead, he's marching through, and that concept that AI suggested, though not with the details, so not like the concept that I'd come up with he's got DCM VII for decimate, a bit of a, you know, misusing Roman numerals in a way that had a different sort of meaning, I guess. And then after we self-released the album, we got approached by Wormhole Death, based in Europe, and they wanted to put it out. So that was the point, like I said, where I thought, okay, we need some actual imagery for this. And I can't remember around that time, because when we did the album, we'd had a bit of a change in lineup. We got Ethan on guitar, and we wrote a new song pretty much after he joined called Killdozer. And that was where my first contact with this dude came in, because his other project of Flesh was using an animator and an artist called Jarrod Elvin. And I'd approached Riley to get the details for Jarrod, and Jarrod did the artwork for the Killdozer video. That sort of led into, okay, so we've used this guy. The imagery for Killdozer was very, very different to the cover art that we had, but you know, we've got this established relationship. So I approached Jarrod and said, here, we've got this by AI, but we know it can be better, and we know it can link in and can be more authentic for the initial idea for Decimus. So that's where the changed, the humanized artwork that we got, and that was the start of what has now turned it out to be Riley joining the band as well, playing bass rather than just being a contact for the artwork. Much too late, we realized. So when it came to the Blackened Skies video, Blackened Skies as a concept for the song is really about humans just messing up the planet ecologically. So it's about ecological apocalypse. No, nuclear war or anything like that. It's just about slowly degrading things down. And Jarrod was really easy to get on board with that. We'd had a bit of an idea when we'd first been talking about potential promos for it as a single, and having the sort of the character being a young girl. For some reason, that just seemed to be like a cool idea at the time, and just sort of said to Jarrod, look, how about the video kind of follows this young girl and her experiences in this messed up world that we've created for ourselves. What Jarrod did himself, which was super cool, is without any guidance on the narrative and how it should end up, there's a neat little twist ending. That was basically it. All I really said to Jarrod was, we've got this apocalyptic wasteland, the main character's a little girl, and how does she sort of navigate her way through this nightmare? And then Jarrod gave it the twist. So that's what's been so cool about working with Jarrod, is when you find somebody else who can kind of share your vision, you don't even need to give them all the details. They're like already on the same page.
So I'm a fan of Jarrod's use of colour in the Killdozer clip. If we look there, we can see the yellows and the reds and stuff, and contrasting with those greys. Just the palette looks really good. And I remember seeing, what was your reaction when you first saw the storyboards from Jarrod and the pictures and the colour palette?
So I guess what I'd said about Blackened Skies as well, he just immediately had got this concept that I'd had in mind. I mean, I'd sent him through the lyrics, which are very much a narrative of what happened in the whole Marvin Heemeyer sort of situation, and seeing it how it's striking and it's punchy and it fits with the riffs, it fits with the music, and cutting down the palette and being very much, this is not necessarily basic animation, but very prime colors sort of thing, just works far better, I think. I think if it had been similar sort of animation style to what was used on Blackened Skies, it wouldn't have worked, but Blackened Skies wouldn't have been as effective if it had been that style. So, again, to give massive props to Jarrod, his ability to use, a different style, a different color palette to suit the projects that we've given him so far, which have been quite different. I mean, it doesn't go, one end of this is you've only got like 4 colors in the video for Killdozer, and Blackened Skies is very watercolors and very grim and dark and sort of, the contrasts and the striking and the way he's done the animations for particularly the bridge section and the solo section of the video, I was just like blown away when I first watched it, and I have gone back and watched it several times because it just is, I can't believe that it's something that comes out of our music. I think it's just so cool. Halfway through last year, we recorded the 2 tracks that are coming out soon, which is going to be Warriors and Wolf of the Plains. And they're both kind of rooted in historical. So Warriors is about the Knights Templar, and Wolf of the Plains is essentially about Genghis Khan. And again, I just contacted Jarrod. We had a little bit of back and forth about, okay, what style of animation or style of art to present it in, and then a little bit about how he would pose the characters, because I already had a pretty good idea of how I wanted it to be. And within a week, he's come back with something that you're like, yep, if I had that level of artistic skill, that's what I would have tried to achieve. So we've got Decimus has come forwards in time to the region of the Mongol Empire, and he's dressed as a Mongol warrior, and we've got a Knight Crusader with the Templar tunic on. I had a bit of a better idea of how I wanted that to look, and I just did a quick little sketch, but Jarrod again just put it down the way I wanted it to be. And I think moving forwards, now it's become this thing, Decimus is our character. So putting him into different situations, if it's appropriate, like I don't think we'll need to be, gemming him in there. If it just doesn't seem right, we won't be doing that. I mean, he's not going to pop up in a video like Blackened Skies just for the sake of it, and he's not going to be driving around in heavy machinery in Killdozer, but it seems to be a thing. And maybe it's because I was brought up on, like, my metal upbringing was Iron Maiden and Eddie the Head, and to a degree a bit of the Metallica art by Pushead and stuff like that. So that probably drives an influence into how I see the imagery associated with the band. So when it came to the merch, we printed for funsies. You start rehearsing, you write your songs, and we printed a couple of shirts. But when it came to then getting out and gigging, this was the first iteration, basically, of the shirt, which was done by a local workwear shop. So not very cost effective when you shift in volume, but it did the job. And we remain with the concept, because if Riley were to get up and turn around, which we won't, because otherwise he'll disappear out of shot up there somewhere, we always tend to print lyrics from a song on the back to the shirts as well. So when it came to then wanting to get some volume, you want to be selling shirts, because essentially you don't make much money off any other part being in a band. So the next iteration of the merch was this shirt that's between Riley and I just here, which I have dubbed on our spreadsheets that we use for stock take the Rage shirt. Now the Rage design basically came straight from Damon Bishop. So Damon's in Carbon Black, he's in an Aussie cover band, he's in a Pantera cover band. The dude's a legend. And when I approached him about doing shirts, he came to us with this design, and we're just like, well, it might not exactly be Decimus, but it's not a million miles away. It's still that sort of skull undead look, and it's sick. So we'll go with that. And that one again has lyrics from one of the songs on the back. When we came time, and there we go, till the enemies are gone, we will fight, which is reference to our song Legions, and also the Till the Enemies Are Gone. We actually have long sleeve versions, and it's got the little Decimus logo goes all the down the sleeve. It's very cool, and if you're ever seeing us live, you should buy one. Then when we released the single Killdozer, we used the artwork for Killdozer. That did take a bit of faffing about, because getting the right layers for the screen printing process for Damon to be able to use. But again, Jarrod Elvin came to the rescue, no faffing about, and sorted it out into the different layers. And the next question is, what will be the next merch? The new single. It's already been out on our Bandcamp. So if you're seeing this before March the 17th, it's on Bandcamp. If you're seeing this after March the 17th, it's out everywhere, and we'll discuss a way that we get maybe Decimus Khan onto a shirt for some new merch. But these things we will see.
Look, thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure to work with you.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Massive supporter of the underground scene, and yeah, we look forward to being back here in some time with some more artwork and some more sick shit.